Hi, my name is Nathan and welcome to RatedComics YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a comic book review of Gun Honey, issue number 2, brought to you by RatedComics. And I want to give a shout out to Peekapool. You said you want a little vacation background? Well, thanks buddy. I'll give you a little bit of where I'm at. Broome, a little bit of the scenery. I'm in Paradisus Palma Real in Dominican Republic, which is an all-inclusive resort for my cousin's wedding. But enough of the boring stuff. Let's get into the comic book review. In this issue number 2, we start off with Buddy Ugrass putting a gun to Gun Honey's head. And in the previous issue, in issue number 1, she was commissioned by him to put a gun in his high security prison or his establishment compound. And she did that successfully, but when she went back to retrieve the gun, he was there with that gun in her very head. Buddy tells Joanna, you're thinking I'm going to pull the trigger, aren't you? Like testing to see if she's scared. She's like, no, I'm just wondering how you knew that the gun was there. And she's like, well, keep your hands where I can see him. So she casually just walks and gets up and goes sits on the couch. And you can tell she has this quiet, cool confidence that's not cocky. It's just a cool confidence like, hey, you might as well put the gun down. If you're going to shoot me, you would have done it already. And he tests the shot right underneath her feet just to let her know, hey, don't be so sure. She was just like, there's only one person that knew I was supposed to leave that gun there. Did you kill that man, the man who hired me? And he chuckled, he's like, kill him? I am that man. And she's like, you son of a bitch. And he's like, I just had to know if you were that as good as people said you were. Figured if you could get a gun in here, you could get a gun anywhere. And she mocks his place like, seriously, this place is like child's place, a Cracker Jack box to me. This your security's for nothing. Puts a gun back to her head again and says, hey, you want to say that again? Because I can get someone else to do the job. And this is her knowing that she's the best at her business. And she's like, don't be so sure about that. Meanwhile, we see Agent Burrow from issue number 1 talking to, I want to call her Iron Bitch, but she's not Iron Bitch. She's Iron Maiden or the Burrow Bitch. We don't know her nickname, but we just know she's a government official. She tells Agent Burrow, if you found her car, but you don't know where she's at, put a tracker under her car and do not lose her. So now Buddy Ugrass and Joanna are having a conversation as to what do you really want me to do? What's the real job you want me to do? Or is this job just yanking my chain? So he tells you, you've heard of Branson Heights. And obviously she has, because she wants to know what you want a gun in prison for. He tells her there's a guy in lockup there and they don't even know who they got. Keep mental note of that sentence. And she's like, and you do? He's like, oh yeah, I promise I put a bullet in his head someday and I'm gonna keep my word. She's like, oh, what, I don't need to know about all this. And he's like, they didn't tell me you were squeamish. You know what guns are for, right? Well, here's what this brother did that's in jail that he wants to put a mark on him for. He sold a bad batch of cocaine to his brother. It might as well would have been poisoned because it was deadly. And she's like, look, man, that's none of my business. She's like, as long as you're working for me, it is your business. If your brother died, you do the same. And then we get a flashback because that triggered Joanna's flashback of her childhood back in Singapore when she was like, my brother died. Yeah, when you grew up with 4 brothers under your roof that are 2, 3, 4, and 5 years older than you, and your mother survived all those, and then she had you, her dad never blames her. So her dad taught her how to be a mouse, go around the streets, taking things, smuggling things, getting in and out of places undetected, and he teaches her differently than the boys. He taught the boys strength, he taught Joanna stealth. And one day, he had a premonition, he sent her on a job to get away from the house. She thinks something's wrong, and she goes and runs from home after, getting the job done. But she turns out her father was not wrong about the premonition with the explosion. That bomb killed her father and her brothers, and you get a little bit more of Joanna's memory there. It ends the question with, when will you do the job? And she responds with, well, I'm ready. And she gets into the car with the tracker and she drives away, and Agent Burrow follows her. He's enjoying the view with the cocktail until Gun Honey, Joanna, shows up behind me. She's like, don't follow me. And he's like, oh, you've been thinking about the offer we made you? Not in the slightest. And she finds the tracker in the car, underneath the car, and puts it in his cocktail. I'm like, this girl's gangster right there. That's some James Bond 007 kind of stuff right there. Agent Burrow tells her, why are you taking jobs from criminals? She's like, okay, goodbye, Agent Burrow. You know Buddy Ugrass is a killer, right? And she's like, and your boss isn't? She goes home, does a little memorial service to her mother, and then we get a view of, she goes to the club, and it's like, what's this club scene going on here? There's a lot of things to look at here. And she approaches a short-haired woman in jeans, and it's about to get intimate, and it is a sight to see. And I am not even sure I could show this on YouTube because it is that not safe for work kind of stuff. But you know what? There's a point to that. It turns out the lady she was pleasing, her name was Muli Vu. She's a guard at Branson Heights, so she seduces her. She's in a deep sleep, and Gun Honey is not. Joanna is not. And she knows she's gonna fall asleep for 6 to maybe 8 more hours because she snuck the pill in her drink after sex, not before, because hey, you know, she's not a monster, right? So at Branson Heights Correctional Facility, Joanna gets in, she cuts her hair to look more like Molly Vu, stealth mode. One of the guards is like, hey, don't forget your sticker, you know? So she has the sticker placed on her badge. She's like, you better have your coffee, girl, get your head at your ass. And, you know, but kind of like prison guard humor, prison guard banter. And she says X-Ways are wonderful things. They give you a peek inside anything you expect to have an inside peek to, but who would expect there to be anything inside a book? So she puts the gun inside the linings of the book, and they're like, when they see a book, the X-rays can look through it, but they're not gonna go X-ray the book because it's a book. Why would they, right? That's her reason behind it. But by the time they figure it out where the gun came from that book, she'll be long gone. So when she does her thing, puts the book in the gun in the X-ray, she leaves. One of the guards asks her, where you going? She tells that guard, to the infirmary, because I caught a bug. So when she gets home, you know, long gone, mission is done. Agent Burrow's there, and they have a conversation, and he is surprised, like, how'd you know I was in your home? And she's like, look, you know where I live. It's only a matter of time before you're home, before you come to my house, so I thought you might want some dinner. Do they let you drink on duty? So they have a conversation and whatnot. And Agent Burrow tells Joanna, you can call me Brooke. And she's like, hey, buddy, you know, Agent Burrow, we're just not quite ready to pick out drapes yet. So let's keep it pro, right? So Agent Burrow asks, will you tell me something, Joanna? Does it matter to you at all who you hurt? And she's like, of course it does. But in this character building moment, we realize it's about the job. She does have reservations on who she hurts. But if the person's bad, it makes it better, I suppose. And plus, she tells Agent Burrow, do you really think your agency has never targeted innocent people as well? He's like, yeah, I can't answer that, because of course it does. So they both have this common character ground, like it matters on who they hurt. Now this is where the book gets gangster. Agent Burrow gets a phone call from Iron Maiden, Burrow bitch, and she tells them to turn on the news. And when they turn on the news, it's a report of gunfire in a high security prison called Branson Heights Penitentiary. And we get to see a play for play how this went down. Inmate or whomever, this is a Buddy Ugras in the inside, pushing the cart, goes up to this random guy, hey man, you want something to read? What you got? I got a message from an old buddy. Opens up the book, and before he can take a hold of the gun and do the deed, this brother escapes, grabs the gun, subdues him into submission, shoots the guard, gets the guard key, swipe it, all the inmates' door cells open, and it's all hell breaks. So it's a riot up in here, and it's like jump off, right? You know what I mean? Guy gets into a cop uniform, parole officer uniform, whatnot, and makes his escape. I got to leave a little meat on the bone with you guys, because there's a few more pages to this issue. But the key is, Agent Burrow asked her, what is this guy like? Who was he? What did Buddy Ugras say he was? He just said he was some drug dealer. He is not some kind of drug dealer. This is something else. This is some high priority kind of stuff. And when Joanna refused to work for the government, issue number 1, it turns out they seem to need her in this issue to work for them, because whatever they set loose, it does not give you any background with this guy that got loose. It's just a matter of, this guy is bad news. So bad news that the person she met at the beginning of the book, that commissioner put the gun in issue number 1, also commissioner for Branson Heights. Oh my gosh, it's a it's a cliffhanger, and you just wonder how dangerous is this guy, because this guy is over the top. With that being said, this book was a fun read. I think it was a blast of a good time. I mean, when I saw Joanna, how she got into Branson Heights by seducing the guard there, I didn't know it was the guard. I thought it was just the book throwing me off for a good time. Okay, don't threaten me with a good time. But it turns out, no, it was definitely pushing the story forward, and it goes to show you how this girl's willing to go to get a job done, and stealth is her name. With that being said, Gun Honey, issue number 2. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy, don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.